And that's a wrap on Insurtech America's 2026 Symposium. 2 days, one venue, 700 people, all who cared about where this industry is going. And what I want to do is share with you a couple of things that stuck with me, the through lines, the concepts, the things that I heard from yesterday all the way through to today. So let's start with this morning, because Mo Tooker from the Hartford, he set a tone that carried the whole day. His message was simple, but it hit really hard, and that's the insurance industry's product. It's no longer just about indemnification. It's risk prevention, full stop. He talked about how IoT labs and air quality sensors and catching manganese exposure in welding facilities and ergonomic redesign that kept employees' hands out of machines. And then he told a story about a manufacturing customer that had a serious loss in 2019. And that moment, it turned their entire risk mitigation profile into much more of a management culture. Prevention went beyond a product pitch. It was now a moral obligation. And so he also talked about a partnership with UConn on heat-related injury research, and that kind of carrier to academic pipeline that's built all around real claim patterns, and it's the exact same shift that we're looking for that he was describing. That shifting left theme, it fed directly into the claim triage and segmentation roundtable later in the day. Because here's the thing, if you're going to prevent losses upstream, you also have to get radically better at routing the ones that actually do happen. So those conversations in the room, they were about predictive scoring, they were about document intelligence, and it was also about structured and unstructured data working together. And critically, keeping experienced human adjusters focused on the claims that actually need them. Automation that handles the low complexity tail and human judgment that handles the hard stuff. That's the design principle. It sounds obvious when you say it out loud, but most shops, they're kind of getting it backwards. Then there was a session on enterprise architecture that I think a lot of people in this industry needed to hear. The headline was really blunt, and that's that modernization without architecture, it's just expensive motion. See, carriers, they're spending real money on transformation and producing fragmentation instead of outcomes. The argument in the room was that lightweight, outcome-driven enterprise architecture, that it's not overhead, it's literally how modernization gets to scale. So if you're a CIO or a transformation lead and you skip that session, you got to pull the recording, because this conversation is one that your organization needs to be having before it signs the next SOW. And then there was a strategic intelligence panel in the morning. It was led by Allianz Life, Pacific Life, Nassau Financial, and Hartford. And the question on the table was, how do you turn the volume and velocity of external change into actual decisions? And the answer that came out of the discussion was not a technology answer. It was a people answer. The bottleneck is not trend detection. It's stakeholder alignment and decision execution. One panelist put it really well. If a leader receives intelligence and has to translate it to figure out whether or not it's useful, it's not decision-grade intelligence. That's a standard worth holding on to, and it's also a standard worth holding your own reporting to. After lunch, it was more honest conversations, and practitioners were talking about data warehouses and AI guardrails and regulatory accountability, and whether we're building AI to replicate our current processes or to actually optimize them for outcomes. One voice in that conversation said something I thought that was really interesting, I keep thinking about. He said that AI is the smartest intern that you've ever had with absolutely zero common sense. And it's funny, but it's also exactly right. The co-pilot analogy was even sharper. She talked about the fact that if the pilot passes out, the co-pilot can actually land the plane. If the pilot passes out with AI at the controls, it flies into the horizon and runs out of gas. And that's where we are. It's not that this is a reason to slow down, folks, but it's a reason to design better. So here's the through line across both days and the whole conference, as a matter of fact. Whether the conversation was about risk prevention or claims triage, it was about enterprise architecture, strategic intelligence, or AI governance, the common answer was always the same thing. Get the humans and the architecture things right first, and then let technology do what it actually does best. The tools are here and the devices are here and the data is kind of here, but what we're still building is the judgment layer. That's the work. And from what I saw this week, the people in this room, they were really serious about doing it. So from Insurtech America's 2026, I'm Miguel Edwards, and we're going to see you next year. 5M out.